Friday nights during the fall. Six-man fans gather to watch a sermon of grit and determination be delivered by 6 men, 10 minutes at a time, 4 quarters a night. Here you'll find the quarterback, is also the linebacker, and the kicker, where iron sharpens iron, where hard work pays off, and where 6 are won. Now for your host of 6 is 1, Coach Goldman.
Welcome back to 6 is 1. I'm actually looking really forward to today's episode. I have the young Mr. Ashley with me from, where's that place out there? Oh, Calvert. Yeah, I've heard of those guys. Yeah, matter of fact, some of you guys, and there he is, Coach, how you doing?
How you doing? Good morning. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, well, and you know, some of you may be racking your brains, some of those that have been coaching for a while. Yeah, that's the same guy that used to tear you up, so on the field not that long ago. So,
man, we had a great team.
Yeah.
Great team in those days. Some great coaching as well.
Oh yeah, it hadn't changed much. You're looking good, Coach. I mean, and now this before we jump into the football stuff, let's get into a little bit of where you've gone since you've from the playing days, and we for those there'll be some why don't you touch on a little bit of the success you had at Calvert, what you went to, what your hops have been along the way, and how you got back home. So why don't we start there?
Yeah, so after I graduated high school, I went to Sam Houston State in Huntsville. I was there for a semester, honestly, and it just wasn't for me. So then I transferred and ended up at A&M, graduated from A&M. Coaching was the last thing that was on my mind. I actually wanted to be a nurse, believe it or not. And graduated there, went to Houston, started teaching. And then my principal, Mr. Trotter, called and was just like, man, you should come home. It'd be nice if you did. And looked into that, got certified, came home. My first year there, I was actually assistant coach under Coach Bennett, who's now at Rogers. I learned a lot from him, just day-to-day operations, how to be a professional, how to manage your time and structure things. And then he ventured on, and then it opened up, and I was blessed enough to be named a head coach at my high school, at a school that I graduated, at a school that had given me so much. And from there on, it's been nothing but blood, sweat, and tears.
That's excellent, Coach. Now, give me a little bit about, and this would be interesting for some of the coaches that I know. I got a call just the other day about recruiting, right, and people that recruit, and and what you do and to help, and what do you say to your players? How do you prepare your players? Because you get the kind of athletes that have a chance to play, whether it be D3, D2, and get ready and prepared for college in general. What do you tell your athletes, and how do you help prepare them for something like that, especially if they may be able to transition to the next level?
Yeah, I just tell them that everything matters. Everything you do, every decision you make matters. People are always watching. And then if you're going to be committed to do something, then be fully committed to do so. Because, once we create those relationships with those college coaches and they come and they take a chance on you, then, those relationships are either enhanced or they are deterred if you don't stick with it. So I just tell my kids, look, it's just all about being a professional. You understand, I know at an early age we're asking you to do things that grown men are doing, but it's just to prepare you for later on in life. Unfortunately, we haven't had a lot of kids that are interested in going to play football. Hopefully that'll change. We didn't have Cortland Grimes go to UMHB year before last, so that was good. Someone recently I can hang my hat on for the kids to see that it's possible for you to do so. But for us, it'd be kind of selfish for me to say that I'm pushing the kids toward going to the next level to play football. I just want our kids to graduate and be productive.
Right.
Whatever that may lead to, whether it's just to graduate and get a job, or they graduate and get some kind of trade, or to actually go to college and get a degree. And like I said, I have just 3 young men right now that enrolled into welding school in Houston, and I'm following them every day to see how they're doing. I mean, it gives me great joy to know that they listen to not just me, but their parents and the rest of the community, and they actually want to do something and not just sit around.
That's really good. I like that you still keep up. So you try to keep up with the players a little bit, see that they get their feet under them as they get out from underneath the program and into something else. Coach, drill down a little bit on the nursing. That's actually a very smart move. I wish more young men would consider that. It's a great field. What led you to choose that initially?
I don't know. I just think growing up in Calvert, you see some of the best talent in the world not make it to the next level or not translate into success in life. So it's just kind of like, you just gotta be reflective of who you are, think about what your real goals are, and then you just shoot for them. Because at the end of the day, I don't care how successful we are on a football field more. I care more about how successful you'll be in life. I think that's what determines how great of a coach you are, is how are your kids doing post leaving your program. So, I mean, I try to tell the kids that all the time. Look, man, life only speeds up. It only becomes more tough. So what we do now is just to build character into you and to get you to the next step. Like I said, success is, I tell them all the time, go and get the big money so your coach can call and borrow some.
That's good, Coach. Yeah, I need to work on that, because I could probably leverage that as well and just say something to the effect of, your coach needs a salary, so go get some money.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough.
But I've always said, if you're into coaching for the money, then you're not bright.
Yeah, you can forget about it.
You're bright. You're not that bright.
And it's more so, it's not even the check, it's how much you're putting back into those kids. I mean, yeah. I can't tell you how much I spend a month just, getting snacks or getting this or helping out with things that they need. So, money is never the issue. You don't look at it from a money standpoint, but you just kind of, at night when you pray, you just say, well, Lord, I'm hoping that what I'm putting these kids will translate later on, and that I don't have to read about them making the wrong decisions. It'll be nothing but, accolades.
Yeah, and actually speak a little bit to where you feel as a coach. I mean, what the athletics do for or how you see that translate to helping them. I mean, where do you think that it, or maybe even give an anecdotal example?
I think honestly, not to cut you off, Coach, I think honestly it saves us. Especially in a community such as Calvert, we're a community. A lot of times we're single parent homes, and a lot of us are missing out on male role models. They can kind of deter us away from a lot of the negatives in life, or can kind of give us those foundational lessons to help us prepare us for adversity. So when you get to athletics and you get someone who's firm as Coach Grimes was, Coach Weather, it kind of prepares you, because a lot of things you are confronted with in life, man. I use a lot of those lessons that I learned in athletics. To be accountable. When you say you're gonna do something, be fully committed. Don't quit. Push harder. Help those around you. Be a team. Sacrifice. Those are things that's gonna stay with me to the day that I close my eyes. And I don't know if I'll be who I am today if it wasn't for my coaches, the athletic program, and my grandmother who raised me. So. And you and I spoke on it before. A lot of the lessons that I'm instilling into my athletes are the same lessons that my grandmother gave. So good teaching sticks with you for life.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that's an interesting part of your story, is that you grew up without a dad in the household, and really much with your grandmother. Speak a little bit to that, and that influence on your life as well, Coach.
When you're younger, you kind of find a reason to be resentful as to why you don't have, the perfect home life of having, both parents, and your siblings and all that. But I can honestly say I didn't miss or want for anything. My grandmother did above and beyond what was needed. At times she had 3 jobs, and my grandfather. I would stay with my grandfather up until he passed away when I was quite young, but. Man, my grandmother, man, I owe everything I am to her, and to this day, she's still on my butt about a lot of things, small things. She keeps me grounded. If I need a good firm cursing, she'll do that. If she feels that I need to be threatened, then she'll do that as well. But she tends to be everything that I need in whatever moment. In that particular moment, whatever is best for me, whatever she thinks I need, she provides that. She does that for me. And like I said, I think it's just another way to show the kids that, you know, there are really no excuses. You know, I could have hung my hat on not having a traditional household and just, you know, let that be my excuse. But I think it added fuel to my fire and it increased my level of determination and to want to make my grandmother proud because she sacrificed so much. I took so much from her that I wanted to be able to give something back to her.
That's great. You know, you mentioned something there, Coach, that and we've talked about this, and that's the accountability in the past and holding your players accountable, and not just on the field, but off the field. I mean, you know, the game's bigger than you, and it's bigger than the game.
Correct.
So give me, and you had mentioned I guess there was a game last year or something that you had to sit some players for accountability purposes. But
I
had
a couple games. One particular game, I had two individuals who were actually starters who were giving the teacher problems, and it's not that they're bad kids; they're just being teenagers, and you know, thinking they know everything, and it just wasn't up to par with the level of respect that I want them to demonstrate. So we were down two starters that game, and luckily it didn't affect us. We were able to still win the game. And then later on in the year, we went up against Milford, coached by Coach Crumpton. He's a great guy. I talk to him a lot. He's really humble. He helps me out when he can. But we're the number one team rolling into Calvert, and here we are. We were down. We didn't have any seniors. I suspended all the seniors. I wouldn't even let them sit on the sidelines. I had to sit in the stands and watch the game. And for them, I just can't. I can't give any slack to seniors because they're so close to being adults. You know, it's just like you're months away from having to figure this thing out. And for me to fail you now will fail you for a lifetime. So it was a growing pains. It was, look, in life, man, you got to take care of business when you fully commit to something, when you're expected to do something. That should be your expectation, is to get it done. And if you don't, then you won't be playing on Fridays. And it's non-negotiable. That's just what it is.
Yeah. No, that's a good word. We've had players through the years. It's likewise. You know, you wish the best for them, and you want the best for them, but the best for them isn't always giving them. You know, sometimes they haven't earned that right to have playing time. And in our world, you know, we also, you know, I've always opened that door for parents. I always tell parents, you know, look, if your son is not doing what he needs to do at home, then, you know, you're not going to affect this team adversely, you know, because some parents believe, well, I've got the start. I'm gonna, no, your son comes first. The team will be fine. It's bigger than this game, and it's bigger than, you know, than just this team. So, you know, I've even, we were just discussing this the other day, Coach. I was telling him I was going to be talking to you, and he goes, Calvert, and I go, yeah. I mean, you remember when we went up there and when you were in junior high and we played them, and he goes, no, I don't remember. It's like, yeah, we did, and he goes, no, I didn't get to play in that game. And then it dawned on me, I'd set him for the game because he was back talking to his mother, and so.
So memories weren't there.
Yeah, I had forgotten, but he hadn't. So he was, you know, because he gave me that. I'll never forget. He's like, I don't know, 13 years old or something. And you can't win without me. Oh, really?
Oh man, I challenge accepted.
I just was like, oh, okay, that's the way it's gonna go. He's never pushed that button again. Anyway, yeah, I thought it was kind of funny because he was like, yeah, I don't remember playing Calvert. Because you didn't.
Exactly.
Now, so give me a little bit about the community there. I mean, I know it's smaller. I mean, are you about the same size? Are you about the same size as Buckholz? Is that? I mean, 'cause I know you play in this, but are y'all a little bit bigger when it comes to actual?
Yeah, we're a little bigger than Sheltonstown. You know, I'd say we have more variety when it comes to food. You know, we actually have a Dairy Queen. discover Roy's Kitchen, something they don't have. By the way, if you ever stop at Calvert, there's a small eatery called Roy's Kitchen. You know, go there, tell Coach Anderson sent you. He won't give you a discount, but you'll be satisfied with the food.
All right. I will take you up on that because we're going to be out that way. So.
Oh, yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
You know, the community, it's one of those things where you see dynamics change as years pass. Like, I remember growing up in Calvert and, you know, the parents were fully involved and you couldn't go to a sporting event and it wasn't packed. And I honestly, me being removed, I graduated in 2011, so from 2011 up until the time that I returned, I don't know what dynamic, what changed, to where, you know, it started to drop off as far as parent participation and community-wide effort. But we made it an initiative to really increase and enhance and return us back to those glory days. So I can say that I have been proud of our parents this last year. Participation has been, you know, through the roof, and it's getting there. We're like I said, it's okay to be failing in some things. It's just unacceptable to self-failure. So we're getting there. I'm proud of our community, and I'm looking forward to what this upcoming school year will bring for us. I think it's going to bring great success for the city. I think our city, the parents, the community members, as well as our kids are excited and eager to work together to get this thing on the right track.
Oh, that's good. You know, I mean, it is a history of success, and you know, speak a little bit because I'm a believer that, you know, success builds more success, right? And so it's
right.
You know, you just and you want to have as many. We always work through the day. Every day needs to have. And this is the military adage. I learned this from probably my father. He's a Marine. But, you know, he made us get up every day and make your bed, right? And the whole point of making your bed and doing it right was you had one successful thing you did that day. I mean, that was it, right? You could have a bad day, but everything, because at the end of the day, you're going to climb back in, and that when you get to the bed, it's going to be perfectly made. It's going to look good. It's going to remind you that you had success today. That was
right.
That was his, you know, kind of, you know, take on it, and so my mama will probably tell you that it wasn't every day I was making that bed, but that was, you know, kind of the adage is to you know. So tell me, you know, success. You want to have those small successes. So tell me how you kind of implement that and you integrate that into your program, and how do you go about, you know, sort of regenerating this, you know, and reminding people about the Apache, because just throwing up old film isn't going to do it.
Yeah, I think it's important, and as I grow as a man, I'm learning to accept to really, really accept the small things as victories. And like you said, just by your dad implementing you all to make the bed, that translated to one success. So I tell the kids all the time, you know, let's be great at the small things that add up to the even larger things, and then next thing you know, you're walking, talking success. And, you know, it's easier said than done, because I feel that a lot of times as humans, we just overlook a lot of things, and it's natural for us to take things for granted, for us to be like, oh, well, I can do this tomorrow, or, well, you know, it wasn't my best, but I still got an 80 or an 88 when I could have gotten 100 or 95. So it's just one of those things where the kids have to stay on me just as much as I stay on them about it, because I tend to wander away from that thought process at times. And it's not on purpose. It is just growing, learning how to grow and be a man, or for a lot of our kids to be self-sufficient. And I tell them every day, look at your situation. Some of these kids, look at your situation. You got yourself up. You got yourself to school. You've been attentive in class. You're learning. You're doing well. You're passing, this and that. Those are victories. Those are successes. Like, don't take that for granted, because there's people out there who can't even do those things, or are not fortunate, or haven't had the mindset yet to be able to do that on their own. So, I mean, you just got to take your blessings when you see them and call them out and be thankful for them.
Yeah, no, that's true, and I think you know, like you said, you know, players holding coaches accountable. I like that. I mean, you know, players holding coaches accountable, and coaches, you know, it's not a one-way street, right? I mean, that's
right.
I am so. The other day, I you know, told my other coaches, look, the player, a player said something to me that resonated with, his thought process that I did not put an emphasis. In this instance, it was on conditioning, and that's not at all. But that's what I got back, right? So that's what I've sown, right? Because that's out there, and I just went, whoa. So that's on me, right? Because if those words came out of his mouth, then I obviously have not been doing my job to make that, and that's a way of them holding you accountable, right? When whatever they and this gets right in, because this is actually really good, because this is about your mirror, right? This is all about them being that mirror. Why don't you discuss a little bit about that, Coach? Coach and I have talked about this in the past, but I like this. Come on, you're gonna have to. I'm gonna embarrass you right here on YouTube.
So yeah, I'm kind of fascinated by mirrors, and that's because it gives me a chance to really have self-reflection. A lot of times when I fail to do something, or I didn't live up to the standards of that day or of that week or that month as a man, then I like to look myself in the mirror and say so. And it gives me an opportunity to look. I can't run from it. This isn't someone else telling me, so I can't say, oh, they're being biased to this or that. This is coming straight from the source. This is me. And, I want my kids to have that same mindset, because if I'm not proud enough to show my reflection to someone else, that means I'm not where I need to be as a person yet. As soon as I feel that I've taken control of my life and I've done things the right way, and I don't have to question what I've done, and I won't feel bad or guilt about it later, then that reflection I'll proudly show that reflection to the world. But I'm not there yet. I'm still talking in the mirror, which means I still have some growing to do. And that's how I tell the kids, though. So, life is learning every day. Each day is a new challenge, a new journey. It only gets harder. But you can make it if you have the mental capacity to do so. So as long as you're determined to do so, and don't get too caught up on the lows, don't get too stuck with the highs, understand that it'll balance out. But you just take life for what it is, and you enjoy what you can enjoy. You cry when you need to cry. There's nothing wrong with that. And then you admit when you're wrong. And as long as you're doing that, then you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I mean, I just found that again, that whole accountability, where those kids, our players will oftentimes, they'll be the first ones. The same when you're parenting your children. You hear this all the time. You see back at your weaknesses are often reflected back in your children, and and you go, wow, yeah, that hurts. And it's tough, and especially but that's just part of life, right? But we all ultimately have to become personally responsible for ourselves, right? And all these athletes, they need to, men and women, they need to take accountability. I think one of the things you said earlier on in the conversation about how you have a number of young people that come from single parent families, not to allow that to be A, to define them, and B, be an excuse, right? I mean, that's right. And the same thing can be said, whether you're in a two-parent family and one maybe one of the parents that has a addiction problem or whatever it is. I mean, you're gonna get you don't know the backstory on everybody,
right?
And that's so everybody has to fight through their own individual struggle, but we got to come together as a team and make this thing work. So on that note,
exactly.
On that note, Coach. So give me a little bit. Coach Shelton. I think he's going to play every male in between the ages of 14 and 18 within a 50-mile radius of his town. But you have a few more players than that, right? I mean, you don't have to play every male that's between the ages of 14 and 18, do you?
No, I mean we've been blessed to have. We don't have the most kids in the program in the state, but we normally turn out around 15 kids. I mean, that's more than enough, given our level, given how many people we actually have to have on the field. So, it's one of those things where our kids never have to feel pressure to play. It's free will. Sports are free will. It's a privilege. I never want them to feel like they have to play because of me or because I'm telling them to, or, because that's so much pressure to be in Calvert and be a great athlete. And so I totally on them, but I wasn't understanding once you decide to commit to our program, then I'm going to hold you accountable. And there are certain standards that you're going to be held up to at all times that are non-negotiable. But, yeah, Shelton, you know, that guy, no, we grew up. We basically grew up together. Like I said, he's a Buckeye side of the guy. We competed against each other from the time we were old enough to be in UIL. And we talk regularly. And a lot of times it has nothing to do with sports. A lot of times it's just about life in general. And it's always a blessing to have coaches that you can call on and talk to, because a lot of the things that you're going through, whether it comes to your job, wherever you are at the school, they can relate to it. You're not talking to deaf ears.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's a good guy. And plus, I had to give him a shout-out in this one because he shouted me out of his podcast. I didn't want him to call me later and be like, yo, you couldn't. You know. There you go, James. There you go.
There you go. You know, I think it's just great. And I told this, so you'll find this interesting. So I was traveling with my son to go look at some schools. He's trying to transition to the next level. He's rising senior. And I told him one of the coaches I was talking to, assistant coach, I think it was at Avila, and he, you know, he came across the podcast. I guess they done a little research. I don't know, but
okay.
And you know, he asked about that, and I said, well, you know, it's just something for me to go out and learn. And one of the things about that, I said, I was talking to, he said, what's amazing is I've been able to talk to coach like Coach Shelton, yourself. I said, I said, the one thing as an older coach, and I hate to put myself in the, I'm a middle-aged coach, right? We never get old. I mean, I'm sure even Vince Jones would tell you he's middle-aged. But as a middle-aged coach, you know, I said I've run into a lot of younger coaches that make me feel, and maybe it's just an anecdotal, but make me feel great about where the future is of a lot of the young athletes, because you know, yourself, Shelton, there's some others out there that I've met and hope to have on this podcast, because I really do think there was this concern: are we going to lose some of the great life? The people to teach the life lessons that need to be taught through the sport.
Right.
Is the sport just going to become secondary to which it should? The primary is educating young people. It's the life lessons. It's not the game itself. And so I've been really. So I was telling this coach. I said one of the things, and this pops out to you. I said I've been trying to get some schools on the schedule that were harder to get because in the past. And I said, but these young coaches, they all want to get. They'll take on anybody, anywhere, anytime. I said, it's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I love that mentality, Coach. That's a good segue. Let's talk about that because, I have always we talked about this in the past. I'm a big fan of putting a challenge to your players. I mean, and
yeah.
And I said this to a coach the other day. I said, I always try to put a loss on the schedule. And he looked at me like I was crazy. Like I was trying to, I don't know, throw my guys under a truck. I didn't say, and I didn't follow up. It's not like I'm going to go out and lose the game. It's like, but I want to make sure that when we go into it, there's good probability we will lose, right? I mean, that's, that's what makes winning sweeter. I mean, and so, and I guess I come from this coach because I was on a team that was the polar opposite, where they never wanted to schedule anybody. And then when we'd always get into the second round of the playoffs, we'd get annihilated because we weren't ready.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it just ate me up. But boy, that coach had a great schedule. He looked good, right? He was 10-1, not 11-1, whatever it was. I mean, 9-2. He just the greatest coach ever, right? No, I mean, he scheduled a bunch of teams he knew he'd win, and then we'd lose always in the first or second round of the playoffs. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So talk a little bit about
I think like year in and year out, Coach, I want to schedule one. I want to have one of the toughest schedules in the state, because, like I said, the main goal of being a coach, in my eyes, being from Calvert and want to see my kids in Calvert be productive, citizens and productive to society in itself. I want to create as much as adversity for them as I can, controlled and uncontrolled adversity, because I want them to be battle tested. When they get into life, I want them to be battle tested. It's not about wins and losses for me. But do I want to win? Yes. Yes, I do. Of course. I'm a sore loser. You know, I don't hate anything because you're not supposed to, but, I mean, losing is right up there. It's close. It's a thin line. But for our kids, I mean, what's a better way to show your natural God-given ability than to put it up against other people who are similar to you? I mean, it makes for a more exciting season. It sharpens me as a coach. It sharpens them as athletes, and then it sharpens us all as men. So, I don't regular season wins and losses. You know, it doesn't mean anything to me. I want to schedule hard. I want to be put up against the best. Because I think Thomas and you alluded to it. You get this cupcake schedule, or a schedule that's really manageable, and then you get your first taste of adversity. You get in the mouth for the first time in the first round of the playoffs, and then everyone is out. You know, everyone is spooked. How do we get past this? I've never seen this before. Being shut down, and for me, character is on display the most when the ground beneath you is shaky. So who are you when things aren't going the right way? What aren't going as planned? Anyone can look the part as long as everything's easy, everything is manageable, everything is predictable. How are you when things aren't? And I think that's what grows men the best. You know, like putting them in situations where, man, we have to come together. We got to figure this thing out. We have to fight if we really want it. If not, we're going to get our butts kicked. And year in, year out, that's what I want the expectation to be. We're going to schedule as hard as we can against the top team. We're not running from anyone. We're not shying away from any challenge. We want to take them. We want to take them wherever they come.
Yeah, Coach, I think that's just a great – and again, you know, it's shared amongst a number of the younger coaches that are and I'm happy to see that. I really am. Just because I think that's you challenging your players, doing the you know, calling them out, calling them up, right? I mean, it's not about out, but up. You know, setting the bar higher, and when they hit that, move it higher again. You know, whenever you can. So, Coach, give me a little bit. You know, so for the record, for those out there that are getting, so Coach and I will be seeing each other a little bit later. Not that many weeks away, is it, Coach? Probably, you know, 6 or 7 weeks. He was kind enough to. So we're gonna be at this for a couple of years and maybe beyond that if Coach can work it out. Okay, well, he's just up the road from us. We're always looking for. Yeah, I talking to Coach Jones just the other day out in Garden City, and he was trying to soften me up for another two-year stint out there. I said, I don't know if I can get my families to go 6 hours again. They all look at me with a groan when I did that to them. You know, that's a bit of a jaunt. I mean, you know, so but always trying to find you know, competition. So give me a little bit of a breakdown of your season. I mean, you're gonna play. I think it was Milford again, right, Coach?
Correct. Milford, Oakwood, Coolidge.
Yeah, right there.
We have you all on the schedule right there.
Oh, that's nothing. You don't worry. You'll take care of us and move on to those
Coach,
others.
We don't overlook any opponent, man. And look, we've been watching. I've done my homework. Y'all had a lot of success here lately, man. So we're not taking anyone lightly. We're not above anyone, you know. But I like the way that Oakwood, Coolidge, Milford, I like the way it's set up on the schedule because it gets you get battle tested before you get into district. And like I said, it's just another way for us to grow ourselves and really challenge each other as me as a coach and those guys as athletes and then us as men. And then you get a chance to fellowship with some great coaches from around the state, and then you get a chance to see great athletes up close on our level. The way you just said, wow. I mean, Oakwood has a kid who is one of the most talented athletes I've come across in sixman in a long time. So, and then Milford is always reloading. They have kids just coming out everywhere. Coolidge has athletes as well. So it's just like, you know, our kids get to see that it's not just us, you know. Mm-hmm. And you know, where it's one of those things where you say, well, look, talent alone is not going to win you this game. how disciplined are you? You know, how fundamental are you? Things of that nature. So it gives our kids a well-rounded and learning and building a philosophy as to what it takes in order to get those victories, those close victories when the matchup is pretty much even.
Well, and you know, too, you're being D2. You have the ability to schedule up, right? D1 teams,
right?
And we were D2 coach for 10 years, right? So last year was our first year at D1. So we're new to having more than 14 bodies, you know, on a team, right? That's but I was always when I took over, I put 4 or 5 D1 teams on the schedule, and you know, and better ones, because I felt like, well, not that I knew we'd ever transition to D1. Never in my wildest dreams did I see getting blessed with more players. I mean, we were always scratching just to get bodies, right? Not even
right.
We're not trying to get athletes. We're just trying to get please, you know, let us, you know, again, it's a mentorship. It's really more, we're more in it for that aspect than we are. But still, you know, now all of a sudden, wow, you know, we've got players coming, and that's great and all of that. But I always wanted to put, you know, and I understand when you're a D1 team, you got to go find, you know, you're going to want to go find other D1 teams. It's harder, but I think as a D2 team, it was always easier for me to put harder teams on the schedule, because I could always just go, you know, find guys that are going to have twice as many people on the sideline, right?
Right.
I'd always joke with some of the coaches that we played that had 29 in our league. 29 is the most. I think UIL 2 is the most you can carry. I don't know if the UIL rules, but ours is 20.
Look, I would know.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. I mean, I always just tell coaches, I was like, look, you know, if y'all don't mind just moving a little bit to the right, you block out the entire sun, that'd be helpful for me. Because, and that's even when you got 6 on the field.
Yeah.
You know,
I know. I've watched games. I was just like, gosh, a lot of kids, man. I don't know if I'll be able to manage all those kids.
Yeah, I know. Or even better is when you line up, you know, you're warming up, and you're supposed to put the guys across so that the other side can't see what you're doing when you warm up. It's like, yeah, when you're at D2 school, you don't worry about that, and you have, you know, at D2, you're not worried about blocking everybody out so they can't see your plays before the. Here, Coach, I've got one for you. I got a question for you. So,
okay,
and this just popped into my head because I have never, and I've never asked the coach this. So when you're warming up before a game, yeah, I never look down to see what you're doing. I mean, I've never understood, but there are people coaches that will come over, assistants usually, and watch you like warming up before a game. Have you ever seen this?
Yeah, that actually happened to us quite a few times. I mean, I don't know the thinking of it. I don't know the.
Did that not get my film?
Advantage. I don't know if it's a form of intimidation, but I always tell the kids that it's about us and only us. So we take care and do what we're supposed to do. It doesn't matter what the other team does; we'll be fine. But yeah, I was like standing there, just like, interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what these guys doing. Okay, I would wave or try to do something, you know, like, hey, what's up, my guy?
Yeah.
Nod, give me a little slow nod, like, it's like, okay, man, watch all you want.
I was just like, didn't we send you 3 films?
Exactly. I'm saying, hey, maybe they just want to get a up and close view of our athletes or something. I don't know, but I'm just like, I shoot the dude, say, hey, man, what's up? What's good? And it's like,
yeah, I've never understood that.
It's never a verbal response back. It's just like,
yeah. I've never understood that. I mean, maybe somebody will get on at one time and set me straight as to what you can find out right before a game
exactly.
that I just am overlooking, and I'd love to know, because I'll start doing it but I can't see any value whatsoever. So if somebody can show me some value on that, I'll be more than willing to keep an open mind. But man, I just my thought process is I just want to make sure my guys got their head in it, and
right.
I mean, it's interesting, Coach. Right? I don't know about you, but I can tell a lot about my team in those, just those 5 minutes that we might run through some offensive plays.
Oh yeah.
And and you just get a feeling before a game where your guys are mentally. And
yep, that is true.
And I've told my wife this before. I've just like, right then I knew, okay, I'm going to have to be biting on some butts because we're not mentally where we need to be. And then there are times where they are just in tune. I'll never forget, we played a game last year, and it's just rare, right, that you hit on every cylinder, everyone. So, and I before that game was the best pregame I had ever witnessed, and just even more now I'm a believer in what that kind of that pregame ritual and that pregame focus is. And so, tell me a little bit, Coach, about your pregame. Do y'all with them? We're with our guys for 4 hours before kickoff. They come to us 4 hours before we go to kickoff. I don't know how long you have your guys before you get to kickoff on a home game.
Yeah,
Let's talk home. Let's talk home, not
so
traveling.
Okay, so home game, I try to have as much control as I can on them. So what I do is, if school gets out at 3:30, I might tell them they have to report back no later than like 4:15 or 4:30. That gives them an opportunity to get home if they want to. Kind of get their things together, get their mind together, and then they have to be back at the school because I want to be around them as much as I can. And it's not, like I said. Let me retract and say it's not so much to have all this control over me. It's just because I enjoy being around them, and it's just like the more we're all together, the less likely for something unforeseen to happen. So it's just like. Let's just kind of get together because at the end of the day, when the lights are cut on, when the whistle is blown, we all going to war together. So I want us to be together. And then on the field, before game, we do basic things. We do our stretches, our warm-ups, dynamic stretches, things of that nature. And then we'll just get into, like, split backs and do sweep, right, this and that. But like you said, though, I can tell from get-go when we do the team huddle and we do our little plays, when we're warming up, I can tell that we're going to come out flat or we're going to come out on fire. So I try to make sure that I have those kids as loose as possible. I'm really big into music, so I have a lot of music playing. And the kids, if you ask the kids, they tell you I joke. They say I cap too much. But I'm always joking, man.
Yeah.
Because life is hard as it is, so anytime you can sneak a few laughs and smiles in it, I'm all for it. So I just do everything I can because I tell them, look, your life by itself is way more pressure packed than this football game will ever be. So don't lose sight of that. At the end of the day, you're out here to perform and have fun. Don't make it any bigger than that. Trust the process. We've done everything we could to be mentally and physically prepared for this game. So no need to be nervous. No need to stress. Just go out here and do your best, and we'll live with the results.
Yeah, and I like that, and we'll live with the results. Hey, Coach, so this is going to be the end of our first part of the of our segment, and then we're going to get with Coach about some film. So those of you that are on the podcast, this is where we're going to part ways because I'm not going to make you do video in a podcast format. But so we're going to part ways here, and then on the flip side, we'll get with Coach and break down some of the plays that he's shown us and given to us. And I want to also, first of all, Coach, thank you very much for your time on this side.
Thank you, man.
So I would like to. We're going to put down in the notes below or wherever that is a link to what I'm about to discuss. But we have a very interesting fundraiser for veterans out here locally. If those of you that are interested, we're asking. We're going to be local veterans are going to come and mentor our kids throughout the season. Part of that process is to give them some commemorative hats, things to the games, all of that. We have a kind of a sponsorship drive for those that are interested and might want to help sponsor a veteran. It's a kind of a low dollar thing to do, but it's a way for us to kind of blend both mentoring our players with what we're calling it Tribe's True Warriors, simply because they're the real warriors. We're the ones that just practice on Friday nights and play on Friday nights. So. We'd ask that you consider a contribution there if you feel it to do so, and those of us within our community that are watching can help us out. So we will see with Coach on the second side for film, and everybody have a blessed day. Welcome back to 6 is 1. This is the second half of our program here where we go through film with Coach. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How you doing?
All right. So actually, Coach and I had to break this. This is the first time I've had to break it into 2 days, but so this is actually a second day. Usually it's just a few minutes later. But so thank you, Coach, for taking the time out to come in and do a little film. This is where I like to learn and just ask questions. So Coach sent me his film, which is great. And we're looking at some film from last year, Coach, correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, and I always ask because don't I should probably do more of my due diligence, but I don't.
No, that's okay. No problem.
We're gonna make this a little bit bigger here, and we're gonna walk through. So, Calvert's on defense here. Now, Coach, you've got what appears to be kind of a 3-2-1. Is that what you call
Correct.
it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Yeah.
Now, we're gonna step through here. Right now when I see it, you're playing against a type formation. Uh,
hmm
you're shading those outside edges with. So is that the way you like that? You want to kind of say, all right, we're going to set edges. We're going to kind of play outside. We're going to keep everything funneled back in. Is that at the?
Yeah. It kind of depends on the matchup, who we're playing, and as I break down the other team's tendencies. Here, this team, they're in tight formation. They're pretty tight. They're bunched. And
Yeah.
they want to get to the outside. They want to get to the outside. So normally we would have our ends cutting the offensive end in half, having their outside half free. In this case, we kind of split them out, flex them out just a little bit more to kind of do exactly what you said, funnel them in, just to keep them from outside because they have speed just like we did. And then we know that those guys, once they get their hands on you, they're so fundamentally sound that it's hard to get off those blocks. So we're just doing everything we can. I have a controlled, smart swarm to the ball, so we could all try to get as many people we can to the ball carrier and hope that we get them down without them getting too much of a game.
Now, here's a question too. I mean, you've got your guys all, they're standing. Even the guy over center doesn't have a hand on the ground. I don't think he puts a hand on the ground. Now, so what's your and there's a lot of different philosophy on that. Should there be a hand on the ground? Do you prefer, sort of in that linebacker, stance? What's your coaching there?
Uh, Honestly, Coach, I like my kids to be as comfortable as possible. So it's kind of up to my player if he feels that him getting down will help him fire off the ball, sooner given the situation. A lot of times my nose guard right there, and he graduated last year, so he won't be with us this year. But if it was like that, depending on down and distance, one of those things where you only have, a couple inches to get the first down, then he might put his hand on the ground and just lunge for it and go after it. So, like I said, this is all about them being comfortable. I want them to be as comfortable as they can. I don't really have a set philosophy on either one when it comes to the guy in the middle. Just as long as you're doing what we're asking you to do and you take care of business, it's fine with me.
Gotcha. Now, here's one thing, you got a sweep going, to the wide side, and right here I see this backside in. What's the coaching point here on where his flow would normally be? I mean, what do you teaching him?
I tell him to try to come straight down the line because if the end in which the play side end, if he does what he's supposed to do, then he should slow down that sweep, and then that should give the backside end an opportunity to actually meet that guy. And then he also have to keep in mind the cutback. So on this play, he came down, but his angle was off, and he didn't break down as well. But given the fact that the play side end kind of did a good job of kind of slowing down the pace, we were able to kind of make up for it a little bit.
Right, get everybody else to the ball. So yeah, I mean, I would say if I were looking at this guy here, I was like, you're about to cheat, right? You got a great
Mm-hmm.
position A. You should stay to his outside shoulder, but
Yep.
at that point right there, if that guy doesn't plant the foot and goes, that's close, right? Because you still got a guy
Yep.
at your legs, and
That is true.
that's always that's. And I know, Coach, they always tell me, but Coach, I'm a better athlete. I had him the whole time. Yeah, until he gets by you.
Exactly. And that's the thing, though. The way that these guys block many teams, I mean, especially at our level, you have to be so fundamentally sound that it's get your hands on them, and then as soon as you're a defender, you start to create some type of separation. You get a log cut. You get rolled to the ground. So I enforce it every day in practice. You have to get your hands out and suppress that guy trying to cut you, and then get back level and be ready to square up and make the tackle.
And where do you tell them with their eyes? Where do you have their eyes when you're defending a cut block? What do you tell them? Where should their eyes be? Because here comes a cut right here, right, Coach? I believe he goes high. He goes up high. He didn't go low.
Yeah, he went high. So it's, to me, when the cut coming in, I'm kind of, and it's funny you asked that. I can't specifically say that I say, hey, place your eyes on this or be looking for this. It's just kind of like one of them things that if you're attacking, then you don't give that guy an opportunity to really cut you. If you're exploding and getting to him first and getting your hands on him, you kind of can dictate what he does and how effective he'll be on you. So it's just kind of like, I can't say I just say, hey, look out for this, but it's just like, hey, do what you're supposed to do. Attack first, get your hands on them, and then, find the ball and dispose of them. Get them off you quick.
Yeah, no, I basically, one of the things I started teaching was for the younger guys, as they get older, they can, it becomes natural, but until it becomes natural to them, I always tell them, your eyes don't ever leave the shoulder pads of the guy cutting you until
that makes sense.
until he's in the ground. Because my thought process is, and what I always tell the kids is, look, if you pick your eyes up to find the receiver while you're still dealing with that guy at your legs, he's into your legs. And what good are you then? Because you're out of the play.
Yep.
He's already prevailed. Take care of the first thing, then move on to the second. Now, we want you to take care of that guy, like you said, get your arms out, get him down, get him in the ground fast, so that he's away from your legs, and then you can move on. But don't pick, because when you pick your eyes, everything else goes where your eyes go, right? So all of a sudden, the moment I pick my eyes, come up, my hands come off those shoulder pads, and that allows that guy momentum to get into my legs. So that's usually what we tell. Now here, you've got your guy. I mean, he's setting a pretty good edge outside. He's turned him back in. Here's your trailing again. Again, straight down the line. I think on this one, that trailing guy gets a little too far.
Yep, exactly what happened.
Yeah, he gets a little too far, and then that makes him have to slow up and come back, and that just gets him off balance. So now he's wrong-footed, right?
But, and then one of the coaching points in this thing is to, be aggressive, do everything at full speed, and trust your fundamentals. And it's like one of those things where he didn't really trust what he was seeing. He over-pursued, didn't have a smart swarm in this case, and then he missed out on minimizing the gain of the carrier. But that end that set the edge, man, and that's what I preach, man. If you attack that block, and it might not be something that just becomes super effective in the beginning of the game, but as the game goes on, you keep attacking that blocker, you hitting him in his mouth every time he has an opportunity to lead block, chances are he'll slow down just a little bit. And that's what happened. Like I said, this team wanted to get to the outside, and he did a good job of funneling it in. We just have to have everyone else do their job on that play.
Yeah, and here comes that sweep again. And that's what these teams, when they, tight, they're going to leave the end unblocked, and then try to get to. Oops, let me get there. Get my. Yep, here we go. They're going to leave that end unblocked, but he stays good, staying lateral, making the guy cut back, and that's good backside right there. I mean, he starts to come down the line, right, Coach? I mean, your backside end starts to come down, but he's there. He's there. He doesn't get fooled one bit.
Yeah, and it just comes down to a trust thing, I believe. If you believe that your guy is really going to do his job, then you wouldn't have to overcompensate. So as long as the guys are believing on one page, and everything should work well. And that was a prime example of it there. Everyone did their job. They did exactly what they were supposed to do, and then we got the best outcome we could on that given play.
Yeah, now this one's interesting. I don't know if you saw this on film or not, because a lot of guys, you're running 4-2 here. I know you have a 3-2-1, but you're in the red zone. You're 11 yards out. So I guess red zone play, you're going to put more guys really up against the run. Is that what the thought process was?
Correct. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so you basically are sneaking up a guy here, and he goes straight. I mean, he goes right on through. I think he goes untouched. I mean, is that just
he actually did. He did a great job of burst in the scene.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that you know, you always say, well, that's good. You know, is it, you know, maybe that they get used to seeing, and this is, I guess, goes back to the whole point of varying your fronts, right? So if
Right,
you used to see
right.
3-man front, 3-man front, and all of a sudden they see 4, and the center who's thinking about cadence or something else, but doesn't, you know, and I'm guarantee you one of these guys had gap containment. I don't know which one. I would have thought it'd be the J back,
Hmm.
but you know, he didn't, right? I mean, he goes straight out for, I think he goes right out for your end, and there's nothing.
See what, and key point is figuring it out on film is that when the team lined up in the forefront, and then what we did was we kind of, like I said, we flexed that end out more than we normally would.
Right.
So then the tight end had to make a decision: do I wash him out or do I go next level? And then so he went next level, which has this end basically being contained, has a contained responsibility. And then with us sending the guy straight through that gap, two things going to happen: either the guy who shot through the gap was going to make the tackle, or the guy who shot through the gap was going to force him into that unblocked end on the strong side. So and that was my thinking on that.
Yeah. No, that's right, because this guy's going straight to the next level right there, and this guy's coming in unblocked. And I can't really tell if I think this play was designed, Coach, to go right where your guy was coming through. I think
it could have. Yeah.
I think the thought process there was pitch the ball and then lead block with a cue, right?
Mm-hmm. Some kind of power play. Yeah.
That to happen. And I mean, really, the coaching point, I mean, for that is that this guy's got to take, you know, he's got to take gap, and then this guy is supposed to, you know, can take in, right?
Yes, sir.
That would have been I think, you know, if offensively, I can't, this is Richland, but I mean, that's probably what they would have said if, you know, they were here, the adjustments. And that's all about it, right? Is making those adjustments.
Correct.
So let's, now here we have a, I guess a handoff. This is more of the veer, right? Because this is the veer play, right? So, but I mean, this is actually a veer without the pitch option because he's coming to block.
That's true.
I think that what's interesting about this is, again, that penetration. Look at the penetration here, and we talk about this all the time with our play. I don't know about you. We just say, look, penetration kills. I don't care. You know, I'll take 2 yards into your backfield, just destroying, as opposed to letting you, you know, pound on me and read and react. I figured out the read and react thing. Never seems to work well for when we're on defense. I guess, you know, if it's 4th and 40, yeah, read and react. But I'm still going to give you 10 yards, right? I mean, that's the whole point of read and react, right? And I'll give you 10. You know, but let's get in here to, I think we have now here's some offensive plays, Coach. So let's look at these real quick. So I got some questions here now you're awful deep. So, I mean, this is really more of a, I mean, if I were playing, well, we will be playing against Fair disclosure, Coach is really kind to be going over his film before playing him. Not that.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a game plan, Coach. I appreciate it.
I'll give you all of them. Don't worry. You know, the Jimmies and the Joes, you know, it's different from year to year. So I'm not looking at anything from last year. That's what I can't stand about week 1 and 2, right? I mean, you just don't have enough film, right? I mean, that's just
that's true.
That is always tough.
Without a doubt.
Is 1 and 2.
Without a doubt.
You know, I'm fine by 3, because then if I get 2 game films, you might throw some things in there and mix it up, but hey, it's still, you know, you're starting to formulate what you are, right? I mean, at that point.
That's true.
You experiment from weeks 3 through 10, and then maybe you morph into something sort of by the end of the season, but it's not going to, you know, anyway. But what I see here is, you know, some pretty, I mean, you're 10 yards back, Coach, on the spread back.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of things, you know, variations depend on who you're playing. And what we found early was and my guys, my quarterback and my spread back, and both of those guys are seniors. They graduated, but they're very small, you know. So I had him a little deeper for him to be able to see just a little bit more, and then to help create those lanes because he's pretty quick. If he has a little space to maneuver, he's gone. So, and what it did was it allowed their pressure to get deeper to us, and then it cleared his passing lanes. That's all we were doing. So we had 3 guys essentially open on this play. He could have dumped it off to our fullback, and then he had the guys running basically a corner and a post, and he had them both open. But that was because of the fact that they were able to come so deep. The rush came so deep that it just cleared it up for them.
Yeah, I mean, here they're bringing 4 on 2. I mean, that's yeah, I don't know how that works. I mean, it works if you can get there before he has a chance to even look, but he's got 1 blocker, and he does a great job of identifying. And I thought what was interesting here on this play, too, is you send both guys. I've never seen this, and I don't know if this was intentional or just, sometimes coaches go, well, that wasn't ever designed. But both these guys run up the field, like almost like together, and then make
at the defender, and then they break off. Yeah. And like I said, just kind of give our guy, it helps them identify who he's throwing to faster, because as soon as, and you teach this in practice, as soon as the defender opens up to one way, to throw the opposite way. And like I said, it just depends. We have the same play, and depending on who I want to send out, we'll call it. So it's the same pass combination. This time it might be with the end and the middle guard. Next time it might be with the fullback and the center. Who knows? But it was just kind of like one of those things that was like unique to this game. We saw it just had this one safety sitting back there kind of picking and choosing, who he's going to hold, and then it just kind of helped us out in this play. Right. They made some necessary adjustments later on, but in this case we were able to execute and capitalize on this.
Well, I thought it was interesting, attacking that safety. So let's back up here so we can get a little. So this one here, you're still releasing. Well, what's interesting here is you have a delay. So this guy's off. Right?
Exactly.
This guy's off. This is almost like you would almost think that was run blocking, right? And then he releases. Now,
and then it basically turns into it's kind of like a delayed screen almost, to where we're telling them to block, then he releases, then we have 2 other guys kind of releasing with him, and we want that dump off. So we're telling the spread back to kind of get to the right a little bit, really sell it with the up back, and then release, and then you should have guys out there blocking for you.
Gotcha. And so that's why you do have 2 guys in the zone here.
Right. And our guys being so fast, well, I didn't want one of the guys to be so deep. If he would have stayed back toward the line of scrimmage, then it would have been a better block on this one defender. But with our guy being as fast as he is, he was able to come back and at least get sort of a crack block. And then our ball carrier was able to use his abilities and get a touchdown.
Now, this is the one where that always gets me. So I don't know about you, Coach, but see right here, he's got him blocked up with the block, right? And then he decides he's going to stop blocking.
Exactly. So it's like you shouldn't stop until the whistle has been. Once the whistle is blown, then you know that you can stop.
Yeah.
So this play is kind of it annoys me. It's one of those things where you can't become a spectator, man. You got to be a player at all times. You shouldn't be watching. You should be doing something productive.
That's why I always tell them. That's why we film the game, so you get to watch it later.
Look, Coach Garner used to tell us all the time when he would tell us that our mistakes during the game, and we'd be like, "Nah, Coach, that's not what it was." He would always say, "The eye in the sky don't lie." So as soon as it's time to get the film, there you go. What were you saying, Ashley? I thought it was this, and you can't hide from.
Film doesn't lie, does it? No,
it doesn't.
So here, so it's kind of you've got some depth here. You're giving ground with your
right
outside. So the thought process here with giving ground is, we're going to let let's let the spread back make an athletic play, or because he's getting him back into basically lane.
Yeah, actually on this play, my end, who's my nephew, so I can say this, he got whooped on this play. That's just what it was. He got pushed on his heel, and we'll laugh about it. But after the game, I wasn't too pleased with him during the game. He's a big kid, and he's starting to grow into his own. But what happened was he just got pushed back on his heels. And with my guys being deep, we want those guys to outrun the play. So let the defense create our running lanes for us. And a lot of times they were coming to a spot And then, well, like I said, my guys being so small and shifty, he was able to get – he's good in tight spaces. And then after that, you build a wall, and then you go. I mean, blocking wasn't too good. I wasn't too pleased with the blocking, so it's kind of more him kind of doing some stuff on his own. But given that time and that play in the game, we needed a first down, and he got it for us.
Yeah, no, it's a good run. It's athletic. I mean, and a lot of it is just getting guys in spaces where they can make athletic plays, right? I mean, that's
right.
part of the deal is to and we got let me get through here, Coach. Got some more defense. I have a CHS2, Coach. Hang on.
And hats off to Richmond Springs. We thought we were the better team all year, and on that night, they ended up being a better team. So, I mean, hats off to them for winning that game. It was a great game. I mean, we can make excuses here and there about injuries, this and that, but you play to win a game, but we didn't win. But it was I had a lot of good things to take from that game to push us forward coming into this new season.
Yeah, I mean that's what we were kind of likewise last year. Coach with there we go. Same thing was for us last year with the City game. We learned a lot you learn a lot more from your losses oftentimes.
Oh man, without a doubt.
All right, now so here you got this is Oakwood, right, Coach?
Right, that's correct.
And so defensively, my question here was, I mean, this looks like a man. I mean,
exactly what it is, Coach. Yeah.
So
it's one of those things where you lined up with three defenders across the line of scrimmage, and then they have to figure out who's rushing. So who's your rusher? Because it's a multitude of ways you can go as far as manning up. Just because I'm lying here, I could be keying this guy, that guy. It's just like make sure you stay with the upbacks because Oakwood, they do a good job of creating space for the upbacks and releasing. So it's one of those things where we just say we're gonna go mano a mano and make the play. Make the play.
Yeah, no, I mean you've got like press man here, so you coach. You don't see a lot of press. I mean, you don't see a lot of teams in 6-man. So you coach that. You take time.
Look, without a doubt, because that's kind of what I did in high school. I mean, I wanted to challenge you on the line of scrimmage. I didn't want you to get anything free. And I just think it's an overall confidence thing. It's a swagger thing with our guys to walk up to someone and say, hey, I'm going to challenge you the entire play. You're going to have to show me what you have. I'm going to show you what I have. May the best man win. And then given this situation with them being so close to their own end zone, it's kind of one of those things that we can just slow down the timing of whatever they had going on, then we're going for it. And you see on that play, they kind of veered those two upbacks out.
Yeah,
which we saw on film. And granted, the year before we lost to them in the playoffs when I was assisting my first year in Calvert, and they killed us on doing that, just veering out those guys out of the backfield. Because our principle is to at least get two guys on that spread back, and then it just virtually made it impossible with them sending those guys chip blocking and just kind of doing the basic wheel route almost. So granted, keeping that in mind, I came in addition. I was just like, we're just going to stay man to man. Once you commit to the guy, you get your hands on him, then the rest of the guys should be smart swarming to the ball.
Right. Well, and this guy comes off that would be when's the moment you're allowed to come off your guy to help? Because at this point you say, okay, he's kind of got him in the grass, but he gets free. It's a flip out to the, but in that case it works out. I don't know. I mean, what's the coaching? When do you get to help out?
I guess on that end, on that particular play, it's like one of the things where you say, okay, well, I understand you're going in to help, but you got to be careful because what if he breaks that tackle and now you're rushing in and he's able to dump it over your head? What happened on the opposite side of the field, we were pressing on that side as well. So I guess, even if he was, you kind of teach that to have each other's back. So even if he did go in too quickly, then now we're depending on that corner to kind of come off of his responsibility and come and fill a gap, make the tackle. But that's kind of one of those things where, it's close. On that play, we were fortunate, but one broken tackle there, and then, I'm throwing my cap on the ground.
And here we got, again, you got a 4-man front. This time, let's look at the ends. I didn't even look to see. A little, still shading the outside a bit, but maybe a little tighter than you were against Richland.
Correct.
The technique still the same, kind of get up 2 yard depth and read and react. That time
Hmm.
that looks like a quick hitter. They're going to give the ball to J back dive, typical J back dive. So what is the um, on that J back dive? This guy has 2 gap containment. I mean, he has
Yes,
gaps.
so actually so it's kind of like get your hand, find the ball. So like I try to teach them in practice, if you get your hands on them and push them back, deliver the first blow, you kind of have an opportunity to control the play. So with us having them in the gap, you kind of eliminated the dive to a certain extent, unless we got too deep and then they end up bouncing it out. So it's just kind of like, hey, you just have to man this up, get your hands on them, fight off the ball, and then make the tackle. And then with our guys, we having 4 guys on the line. You kind of say to yourself, you shouldn't get too far. And then we teach getting the ball back. So anytime we have an opportunity where an offensive player has been stood up, we'll come in and strip the ball.
Yeah, and that's what I see. It's a good strip, and that is something that it has to be coached, because if you don't coach it every day, it doesn't become part of your philosophy, right? You can
Correct. Yes,
tell
sir.
teams where that's what they've been coached to do. Something that we have to get better at. Actually, we got a little bit better last year. 2 years ago, our turnover differential was good, since we didn't turn the ball over, right? But bad because we should have had a lot more turnovers. Right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
we improved on that last year, but it's nowhere where it needs to be. And yes, and that's on me, because we don't rep it as much as we need to. It's the philosophy thing, right? I mean, you can always tell teams that attack that football.
But I mean, it's tough though, because you come home and the first thing you see is that we have a lack of fundamental skills. So the whole year just to get those guys to make a form tackle and do things correctly was, something that I had to preach every single day, week in, week out, because it hadn't become natural yet. So and then as time went on, as things progressed, and then you saw your kids starting to level up, and you start introducing new concepts, and that's how it was with stripping the ball. Once I could see that we can make tackles, okay, now someone can come in, create a form tackle, hold them up if you can. If the guy's still fighting for extra yardage, he's being greedy, then we're going to capitalize on that.
Right. Well, now, Coach, here this series against Oakwood, more 4-2. Obviously, felt as though you could, body them up a little bit better. Ends definitely in a little bit tighter, because this guy gets hands to the chest, plays through and to the outside. Really good play.
Right.
Because he's so deep, I'd go back to saying, look, you make that edge, you're starting it right about here or whatever. I now got to run around him. The moment I got to run around him, it gives the corner time to come up, because he knows. I'm guessing you coach, look, there's not a guy releasing quickly into your on play side, then your run support. I mean,
exactly. You're finding the hole, filling the gap, and smart swarming.
Yeah, and so if there's a guy released from the backside, that becomes this guy's,
That's correct.
So yeah, we're kind of the same way, because we do run that 4-2, or you'll see a lot of different looks from us, but ultimately it's a 4-2. I mean, it's not like we're hiding anything. We're just going to bring it from different ways. But yeah, so
exactly.
typically, look, if we see on film that you got a guy that might can throw the ball, otherwise we're bringing 5 guys up, and we're going to make that guy make an athletic play. And a few years ago against Bracken, I got burned quite a bit by that, because this guy was a freshman, and he couldn't. If week 1, he could not figure it out. But I remind him about it. He's a senior now. I remind him about it every once in a while.
Yeah, just to keep him level.
Just keep him level.
You're not too long removed from yeah.
Yeah, cause he'll work on somebody else about not making a play. I'm like, really? Let's go back and revisit that film.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were there too at one time. So now again, they're going to be kind of I look at this as just as an inverted diamond. Here.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, people try to throw it different looks. I mean, we've done it too through the years. It's still diamond's a diamond's a diamond. I found that interesting. This guy has to. Wow. I don't know if I'd ever want my player having to duck. because now his eyes are not where I want him to be, right? Because I mean, he's not even
right.
then again, he's not even looking to block. That would be a tell for us, right? I mean, we would just be like, don't worry. The moment you see that guy coming, and don't even worry, we're going. Don't even worry unless you're like you are. I think you're in man here.
Correct.
You're going to pick him up coming out of the backfield. So I mean, what is the point where you go? I'm going to do man because I believe my guy rushing the spread back will get him 9 out of 10 times. Is that it, or where does it come?
Yeah, it's a mission thing. It's an overall confidence in my athletes that if left on the island, they can get the job done. We put in the work in order to be successful given those opportunities or those situations. And then actually on this defense, we actually were doubling. Oakwood has an athlete. He's a really, really great athlete, and he'll be a senior this year. He's a really great athlete. So actually, we kind of doubled him on the right side and kind of left the center free because we kind of noticed that they hadn't been thrown to the center much in this case.
You guys here.
So it's kind of like one of those things where he starts over there. It's kind of like we're bracketing that guy to the right to start off with, and once he sees that our guy is engaged on the ball carrier, now he's coming down. But it just depends on the play, on the opponent, and then the flow of the game. So if it got to the point where my guys were missing a lot of one-on-one tackles, then, I would of course adjust to something else, maybe something more of a softer zone. But in this case, it was just like, let's just go man to man, and the confidence was high. Kids really felt like they could get it done, and they did.
Right. Now we'll end with one last play here. Let's see. They're in a spread. They're in basically a twin set.
Mm-hmm.
This guy doesn't even move. I'm trying to figure out if he I don't know what he was doing. Now there's a good athletic play right there, making sure he takes care of the
right.
Yeah. Now that's why I don't like cut blocks in open field when you're I'd rather you get chest to chest, right?
Because it's a hit or miss, man. You miss, and then the whole play can be doomed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in this case, it's the same thing. We actually didn't cover the up back in this situation. We kind of played off of them a little bit.
Yeah, you dropped back.
We dropped back, giving down a distance. I don't know. I can't remember what down this was. Could have been second. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it looks like second. Yeah, but it's just like one of those things where, like, if they dumped it off to him, then we would just come up and make the tackle.
But short field.
So we wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just kind of wanted to make sure that we kind of had he didn't have anywhere to throw the ball, and then it was still one-on-one because our kid was just on fire this game as far as making the sure tackles.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what makes that work, right? Is if you can athlete to athlete, if your spread back can't get by the first guy, things aren't.
So it's gonna be a long night.
Well, or you got to bring in a blocker who can make a block, right? I mean that's the other, and that's not a block. I mean, I not a big fan of cut blocks. I mean, if you're going to keep 2 back and they're rushing 3, and you can create that semi pocket, and you got a quick designated throw, I see it, right? Because then you chop those guys, make them get their hands down so you can throw over the top. If you're going to hit a quick or something like that.
Yeah.
Wilco is a team that out of Austin that we play in our and that they rep that, and that's just their play, right? It's one of their golden 6 plays, and they do it well. And their whole point is they don't cut you to try to really. They just want you to get down so that they can throw that for that passing lane, almost like you want a bubble screen, right?
Yeah.
And so, but that's where I've seen it effective. All right, well, Coach, thanks a lot. I mean, I love going through. Looking forward to having you guys out at the pasture this year, and then coming your way the next.
Yes, sir.
And wishing you all the best for for August. And so, again, really looking forward to our game. I think it's great that we have the opportunity to let our young men get to square off. It's going to be a fun game. We're very excited about it. Thanks for taking the time. Really appreciate it. And hope you have a great August, and we'll see you in September, Coach.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. And one last thing, I just want to say hats off to Oakwood as well. They presented us with all kind of challenges that night, and fortunately, we were able to come out on top. And to my people in Calvert, man, I hope you understand that, you know, we have an opportunity to really do something special this year. So I pray that we all get behind these kids in the classroom, stay committed to them, whether they're at school or not. And then let's really, really invest into these kids and get them to where we know that they can be. But once again, Coach, I just want to thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for letting me, you know, show off my kids in Calvert and show off what we're doing. It's a blessing. I'm honored. I can never be thankful enough to actually be here in Calvert. So I don't take things lightly when you're planting seeds into young men and young women. So yeah, I'm excited to come to Bastrop. I think you and I are developing a great relationship. I see a lot of God in you, and it makes it fun to be able to sit down and just chat about not only football but life in itself.
Appreciate it, Coach.
So thank you.
Yeah, good words. So with that, we are going to wrap up. Coach Ashley out at Calvert. You will find in the below, you know, like, share, distribute. Our audience is growing. We truly appreciate it. You know, if you know of somebody else that you think would be great on the program, it doesn't necessarily have to be a coach, but we do look at everything from a coach's perspective. This is not, you know, really about watching game film and doing stuff. And we're just trying, this is more of a platform for us all to get better and learn more about the game of six-man, and we truly mean where iron sharpens iron. So God bless, Coach, and God bless the rest of y'all, and I hope that y'all have a wonderful week.